councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas. The first reports say that President Kennedy has been seriously wounded by this shooting.
It is a big idea, a new world order.
It was almost as if it were a planned implosion. It just pancaked.
Either you were with us or you were with the terrorists.
But I also believe that a lot of gun owners would agree that AK-47s belong in the hands of soldiers, not in the hands of criminals.
Guns will be taken, and no one will be able to be armed. We're going to take all guns.
For many of the police and guard troops, it is an uncomfortable job to do this in an American city.
It's global governance at last. Is it one world? The central bankers in charge. But aren't we all just living and dying for what the central banks do?
As for me, give me liberty or give me death!
The answer to 1984 is 1776.
Good evening. It's Monday, the 7th of January of 2012. I'm David Ortiz. You're watching InfoWars Nightly News, and here's what we have in store for you tonight.
Tonight, Alex Jones is detained by the TSA and threatened with arrest as he travels to New York for the showdown with Piers Morgan. Then, another gun story you won't be hearing about on mainstream television as a gun-toting mom protects her children from a dangerous intruder. Plus, one woman's fight against gun control.
The Second Amendment is not about duck hunting. And I know I'm not going to make very many friends saying this, but it's about our rights, all of our rights, to be able to protect ourselves from all of you guys up there.
Susanna Hupp, survivor of the Luby's massacre, advocates an individual's right to carry a concealed weapon. All that and more up next on the InfoWars Nightly News.
Welcome back. Well, it seems that an American in Georgia recently exercised her Second Amendment rights. According to an article posted today by Adam Salazar and Infowars.com, the headline reads, "Woman defends home and children by shooting intruder 5 times. God bless her." In another victory for responsible gun owners, a mother defended herself and her 2 children using a firearm after a burglar broke into their home this past Friday. It happened in Loganville, Georgia, about 35 miles east of Atlanta. The woman was working in an upstairs office when she spotted a strange man outside a window. The unfamiliar man, who the woman initially perceived to be a solicitor, began ringing the doorbell several times. The 37-year-old woman dialed her husband at work, who told her to get the kids and hide as he proceeded to call 911. Next, the woman gathered her 9-year-old twins and hightailed it to a crawl space as the burglar broke into the home using a crowbar and began rummaging through the occupant's belongings. Well, it turns out that when he opened the crawl space door, he was greeted with 5 bullets. He ran out of the house, and I believe he crashed as he crashed his vehicle into a location, and he told an officer of the law to help him, please, that he was bleeding to death. He believed that he was dying. And we've got a video clip that talks a little bit more about this story.
A woman shot an intruder inside her home on Henderson Ridge Lane. The woman fired 5 times.
My wife is a hero. She protected her kids. She did what she was supposed to do as a responsible, prepared gun owner. Her life is saved, and our kids' lives are saved.
Sheriff Joe Chapman says the woman fired all 6 rounds, hitting Slater in the face and neck 5 times.
Well, there you go. And it seems that the Obama administration says, look at these deaths, but not these. They want you to look at the deaths of the children that happened in Connecticut. And obviously that was horrific what occurred. But they never want you to look at deaths that occur when an American defends themselves. And that's exactly what happened. We commend that woman who did that. Her name is Miss Herman. Her first name was not disclosed. And that's one of the reasons why America is safer than the UK. The United States has half the numbers of violent crimes than the UK does. It has half the number of burglaries. It has half the number of rapes. And the reason why is most burglars are cowards, and they don't want to go into a home where they can potentially get shot. So again, a woman defended herself in Loganville, Georgia. As a result, there's a great chance both her and her family are safe today, and you will hear nothing about that from Piers Morgan or the nutty left. And quite often they say, well, David, we're not saying that you can't defend yourself in your house. But they're not telling the complete truth, because Dianne Feinstein's bill, which she's proposing and they'll be voting on later on this month, says that the bill proposes that Americans can only have a certain number of bullets in their home also. So we're going to give you 10 bullets, and you better pray to God that that's enough for you to defend your family. So they're even intruding on people's rights to defend themselves in their home, these nutty anti-Second Amendment liberals. Again, we commend that individual.
Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.